What's going on, people? For today's review, we have How to Be Charming by Sierra Vale. It's a nice little book. I enjoyed it. The thing you have to realize when you read this book is that it's from a female perspective. And females and males are wired differently. Um, in my opinion, females are better communicators than men are. But as a man, you have to get your point across sometimes without being blunt. And that's something I've worked on because I'm a very blunt person, a little bit too honest sometimes. Uh, it's not just for macking on chicks, okay? I'm not out here being trying to be Don Juan Magic Juan. No, no, it's for work, everyday life, just to make things smoother for you. And she makes some very good points in this book. One of the points she makes is that humans are sometimes wired to protect themselves from an evolutionary standpoint. Like, you don't want to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing because you're going to get kicked out of your tribe. And if you get kicked out of your tribe, guess what? You're all on your own. So you need your tribe for protection. You want to have some good social cohesion. And it works against us. It's, in her words, it's an outdated code. We're not built for that these days. I mean, we are, but it's not really good operating software. You need to be able to express yourself and get your point across in a nice manner where people actually enjoy being around you. Um, and you need to be able to do it in an authentic manner that's true to yourself. Not like some cheesy pickup artist where you're just memorizing lines. It's like, hey, baby, what's going on? Or, hey, this and that, or this and that. No, it's not like that. Um, this book was a little difficult for me to read. It had a hard time grabbing my attention because it skips around a lot. And she has a structure to this book that I found inauthentic. It wasn't charming to me, and she's writing a book about how to be charming, and I'm gonna get into that later. It's also a little bit contradictory at times. She says one thing and she'll go into another, and from my own experience with some of the things she says in this book, it's like totally off point. It's off point. But the thing is, it's from a female perspective. It's not from a male's point of view. For instance, she talks about in this book about syncing up with people. Um, Men don't sync up with other people. We're kind of like leaders. Well, not all people are leaders, but we kind of want to march to our own drum, dance to our own music. We don't sync up with people. It's from a female point of view. Okay. One of the things she gets about, really gets me in this book is she puts a lot about herself in here, and it's like, I traveled here, I traveled there, I was going over to this place, and I met Juan, and I met Diego, and I met Barbosa, and I met all these different guys. I'm like, yeah, hey Kayla, no, not Kayla, Sierra. Um, I might have been born in the morning, but I wasn't born yesterday morning. I know what you're up to with your little world travels here, your little globe trotting. Hey, no judgment call here, but we didn't need to know that about you. You know, keep your stuff private. Don't put it out there in a book. We can read. Read in between the lines and know what's going on here. Okay, get your freak on, girl. Hey. But the book was really worth reading. The final chapters were the most relevant for me because it talks about different stuff like at work, online, doing stuff in the digital age, and sometimes like texting, for instance. Texting can be taken the wrong way. So you have to really think about what you're doing before you put it out there. Or just shooting videos like this. I'm not the most charismatic guy, but I put myself out there. What else are you going to do? It's not a bad book. Um, it has some very, very relevant points that you'll find interesting, whether if you're a man or a woman, because some of the stuff she puts in here is universal. It goes across the board being, a charming person. It doesn't even matter if you're like a tranny. You could be a very charming tranny, okay? Um, The information was really good. And the thing I liked about some of the information she puts in the book is it's kind of backed up by science. She did her homework on this book. I'm not going to lie. I can tell she put some work into it. And the science she puts in there, from my point of view, from an analytical mind, from a logical mind, is what I gravitated to. All right. And it was really good to get another perspective, somebody else's perspective, from a female perspective. You know, sometimes, like guys, we can get wrapped up in our own thoughts, and we don't really realize that women are wired a different way. You know, surprise. The book was structured. The way the book was structured, I didn't like it. I skipped a lot of this book. What she would do is she would have an intro to where she's introducing a topic, and then she would jump into a story. And I really didn't like it that much, because I got tired of hearing about her stories. Or she's talking about, take for instance Kayla, or take for instance Martha, or Stuart, or John. I'm like, I don't care about these people and what they went through. You might have made them all up, I don't know. But the structure of it didn't feel authentic. Okay, it didn't come off as charming to me. And she's writing a book about being charming. But then she would go after the story into the science, into the conclusion. And that's what I skipped to. I skipped to the science and to the conclusion, because that's what made the most sense to me. I don't want to hear a bunch of fluff. Just go straight to the money shot. I want to see the money shot. I want to get to the meat and potatoes. I don't need the sour cream or the chives. Just give me the meat and potatoes. You know, pour me a nice old cold beer. I'm good. I don't need to hear all these different stories about you globetrotting, you know, getting your freak on. I don't need to hear about all these different people you've met and their stories. It wasn't interesting to me. But it wasn't the best book that I've ever read, and it was hard to read at times. But in the end, it was worth reading. I liked it. I mean, I could go back through here and I made some dog-eared some of the pages, so I could go back to the relevant points and reread it in the future, because I'll forget. And I'll reread this book, you know, the relevant points. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. I forgot all about that, and I can use it. Sierra Vale, if you read this book, if you're listening to this review, not my cup of tea, but it was a decent book. It was a good book. I liked it. I got some useful information out of it. And what really makes this book golden is not the information in it. It's getting the information, processing it in your own mind, and going out there and applying it. You can read books like this all day long, like how to do this, how to do that, you know, psychology or fixing your car. But if you're just reading the book and not applying the knowledge that's in there, you're just wasting your time. The golden part is applying the knowledge, going out there and chopping it up with people. I do it all the time, and it's relevant. If we go back to my book about like how to become an alpha male, it's the same thing. Just go out there and just talk to people. I do it all the time. Today I did it. I was sitting in line at the grocery store, and they were like, hey, would you like to go in the self-checkout? I'm like, no, not really. I don't work here. I'll stay right here. I've got time. I'm not doing anything. And this guy behind me was sitting there. And they were older people. And some lady was like, hey, don't I know you? You remind me of so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, you must be thinking about my brother. She goes, oh, yeah, but I know you too. She was trying to get them digits. And dude wasn't like anything to look at. Neither was she. But he was missing his front teeth right here. And she was trying to mac on him. I was like, you go, boy. Go get that, man. It's like, I don't want none of that. And we started talking back and forth, you know, chopping it up. And he told me about how he had an accident. He got hit by a car. And he was kind of like, not himself, the same guy he was like 20 years ago. I was like, dude, I can relate. I've been hit by a truck. It wasn't pretty. It was not a fun experience. And, you know, we could relate with each other. Somebody that's introverted and doesn't go out there and speak with people, doesn't just say, hey, how's it going, they wouldn't be able to have that conversation. And I was cool, you know, I had nothing to do. I was like, he only had a few items. Like, go ahead and get in front of me, dude. And it's stuff like that, you know. You're not always going to be preparing yourself to speak with your boss, asking for a raise, or going out there and meeting somebody that's special to you, or just, you know, talking to the cops. You know, there's a time and place for everything, you know. You don't want to charm the cop, but you don't want to be a prick either. So, you know, who wants to catch a charge? Sierra Vale wrote a good book. It wasn't the best book, not a bad book. This is a decent book, made some good points. All right, I've gone on enough about this book. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. How to Be Charming by Design by Sierra Vale. All right, till next time, people. Peace out.